Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the Media Files. So today, we instead of doing movies and stuff like that, as you can probably tell right here behind me, I got loads of totes and stuff just stacked up to to the ceiling here. Obviously, the majority of this isn't even out. Yeah, like I said, it's all in totes. Um, yeah. How about some books? Yeah, I got a nice pile of books here, all by the same author, one of my absolute favorite sci-fi authors of all time. Of course, I'm talking about author Timothy Zahn, who should be no stranger to any of you Star Wars fans out there. Of course, he wrote some of the most famous novels, in Star Wars history. You got the original Thrawn trilogy. You've got, the newer the new Thrawn trilogy that he's done. Heir to the Empire. Spectre of the Past, Visions of the Future. Obviously loads of great novels, including one of my absolute favorite comic books, Star Wars Union, of course, featuring the wedding of Luke and Mara Jade. So yeah, but we're not here to talk about Star Wars Timothy Zahn novels. No, we're here to talk about some other Timothy Zahn novels that I found at a local thrift store. The majority of them were all in hardback, and I got them all roughly for 50 cents, including a couple quarter soft paperbacks. So let's see what we got. A huge Timothy Zahn book update right here on the Media Files. Let's check it out. All right, welcome back. So first off, we'll do this top book here. Now this one's more of like it's like a multiple author novel where it's more of just like basically just like a several different stories kind of put together around kind of like the same theme kind of idea. But yeah, what can we say? All I know is that Timothy Zahn is one of the writers in this book. So here we have Battle Luna, which is basically about a lunar colony, which is a mining colony. It's been basically, invaded, basically, and just looks kind of cool, basically. So, I mean, what can I say? It's got several authors in it. Timothy Zahn's story in here is... let's see here. What novel is his? Now, keep in mind, most of these books I've never read before, so I really won't know that much about them. The story he wrote was a story called Foxhole, which is the first story in the book here. So, so this must be one of his newer stories, because this came out in 2020. All right, so up next, we've got here a trilogy. Yes. I just saw the name on it, and I'm like, you know what? It's Timothy Zahn. I got to get it. And because I've been wanting to read a lot of his other novels, just besides, the Star Wars novels itself. But now keep in mind, these stories were originally written individually in the 80s, and this compilation came out in 2004. I'm talking about Timothy Zahn's Cobra trilogy, which features, let's see here, which stories is it here? If I can actually get to the table of contents page, that'd be great. And so we got Cobra, Cobra Strike, and Cobra Bargains. So yeah, how cool is that? Especially if you're a fan of old school Timothy Zahn. So there you go. All right, so up next, we have here a couple of books, which I believe are actually part of a trilogy. I believe. Couldn't even find the first one, but here we have the second book in this series. This is the sequel to a book entitled Night Train to Rigel. We have The Third Links. And that sounds pretty cool. It sounds like more like a young adult novel, maybe. Really don't know, but I said he's Timothy Zahn's wrote loads of stuff. I mean, it's hard to keep track of what he has. And then we have also, I want to say this is the third book in the trilogy, I believe. I don't know if it's a trilogy or not, but it might be. But here we have Odd Girl Out. Yeah. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. I think it's from the Quad Rail series. Apparently, is what which is apparently what these two books are. This is from the Quad Rail series. So I've never read any of them. So it'll be fun to sit down this weekend and actually just do some fun reading. So up next, I was kind of surprised I found this. I've been wanting to hunt this down for a while. Of course, I'm a big fan of the PC game. Surprisingly, I still have yet to play the second one. I mean, I played the original when it came out, obviously. This came out in 2016. We have StarCraft Evolution. Yeah, I have no idea where this goes in the series. I'm wondering if somebody just kind of decided to get rid of their Timothy Zahn set stuff or something like that. Yeah, I mean, how can you not go wrong? I mean, come on, it's StarCraft. You know, you got the Terrans, you got the Zerg, and who else? Just loads of other great characters and whatnot. And so yeah, there you go. Alrighty, then up next we have another. I don't know if this is sci-fi or if this is more of a mystery. Could be a mystery type of novel. I don't know. Oh, dude, are you serious right now? So, dude, whoever you are, I can't pronounce his name, but I'm just kind of looking in here, and we have an autographed novel. Yes, we do. We have let's see here. We have Cloak. And of course you can see, try to hide this person's name here because I don't know who that person is. As you can tell right there, we have Timothy Zahn's autograph. So how cool is that? From March 21st of 2013. Cool. That's awesome. This might be a sci-fi novel. I really don't know. But yeah, Cloak. That's actually kind of cool. I actually have a Timothy Zahn autographed novel. Sweet. Because actually another autographed novel that I do have is, I was kind of surprised to find it, was a Bruce Campbell novel. I think it's, was it Confessions of a B-movie actor or something like that, If Chins Can Look or something like that. Anyways, so up next we have here, I think this is actually from one of his earlier novels, I believe. Let's see here. It looks like that this might be two books. Oh, sweet. Okay. This one's actually two books in one, but there's something that's kind of interesting about this front cover here. So here we have Black Collar. Yeah. Now, what's interesting about this is the spine. So at the spine here, look at that. Yeah. His name is spelled with a Y, so I don't know if that was a mistake. Or what, but this actually is two novels. I wonder if I have all three books here. So it has Black Collar and also Black Collar, The Backlash Mission. So these were, of course, both books were written in, Black Collar was written in 83 and The Backlash Mission in 86. So this must have been from like I want to say maybe like a sci-fi book club thing, because it has a publisher's note in here, and it mentions that both of these books are put together. This is probably a re-release, but yeah, how cool is that? And so speaking of Black Collar, we've got here The Judas Solution. Yeah. Like I said, I've never read any of these. Any of these books that I'm showing off to you. This has been my first time ever reading any of these Timothy Zahn books. I want to say this is probably very early on. Okay, copyright 2006. Okay, somewhat almost 20 years ago, but he may have written so many other books back then. But you know, hey, what can we say? How cool is that? I just love that front cover. That's awesome. All right, then up next we have here. I have no idea what this is, but might be more of like a sci-fi. Might be more of a sci-fi fantasy novel here. Yeah. This is definitely much later on in his career because it mentions a lot of his Star Wars novels. Um, but yeah, so here we have Manta's Gift. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, it's like a sci-fi type of book and whatnot. Obviously, like I said, it just kind of the front cover kind of reminds me of basically of like a sci-fi fantasy-ish type of thing. So that's cool. So then up next, here we have, I think this is one of his most popular sci-fi novels. I'm kind of surprised I found it in hardcover. I remember seeing this book one time at Goodwill, and they wanted like $5 for it. I'm like, really? And for 50 cents, why not? So yeah. So here we have Angel Mass. Yeah, I have, like I said, I've never really read this, but according to somebody from the that's somebody from talking about Star Wars, the Heir to the Empire, and other Star Wars books. But yeah, this looks really, really cool. It sounds really awesome too, and yeah, it'd be fun to actually read some. Like I said, just sit down and reading some of these novels that I've never read before. So, because I love his obviously his Star Wars work and whatnot, and I've always wanted to hunt down some of his other books. All right, then up next we have here the final book that is hardcover. We have The Icarus Hunt. Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. Like I said, I have no idea what these are. All I know is that they're just written by Timothy Zahn, and I picked them up basically for next to nothing. And, need a good sci-fi story every now and then. And then, what else do we have? We have loads of other novels written by him and stuff. But a lot of these, though, that are mentioned here in the table of contents here, or book suggestions, a lot of those actually I found literally today. So, yeah, August of 1999. So that would have been right around the time released, probably early. I would say maybe early 99 or later of 99 because, this Phantom Menace came out around that time. So, there we go. But yeah, how cool is that? So, all right. And then finally, the paperbacks. Yeah. So first up, we have here, Distant Friends. Basically it's about a telepath who was in love with another telepath, and apparently they can't read each other's minds even though they're 1,000 miles apart. Okay. Interesting. Like I said, I've never even heard of this, but like I said, it's Timothy Zahn, and I had to grab it. All right, and then up next we have here. This is one of his earlier novels because I was kind of looking at the when this actually came out and whatnot. I would say this might be early on in his career. So the funny thing is that when this was released, I was only 5 years old at the time when this novel was released. But here we have Warhorse. Yeah. So I don't know anything about any of these. I'm just going to keep on repeating that left and right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, all of this just sounds really cool, and I can't wait to sit down and actually read a lot of these old school Timothy Zahn novels. And finally, we have the last book here. This one, I think, is even earlier than that. This was released in, let's see here. This was released in 1988. Wow, I was 3 then. Oh, man, that's early. This must have been very early on in his career. Or maybe when he just started out. I want to see if I can try to find his first novel. As far as I know, this could be his first novel. I don't know. Have to do some research. But here we have Dead Man's Switch. So yeah, there we go. As you can probably tell from the photo in there, which was on the for the picture or whatever, loads of great stuff. Like I said, just can't wait to sit down and actually read some very early Timothy Zahn stuff. And of course, I'm nowhere near done with any of his newer Thrawn books. I think I've got 1 or 2 of them. out of the newer trilogy that he's written, but I'll find it whenever I get a chance to. So, but yeah, not a bad haul, shall I say, for roughly about $6-7 for literally everything. So you can't beat that. All that old school Timothy Zahn stuff. That's sweet. All right, you guys. So with that, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification button, leave a comment down below, and with that, I'll see you next time. See ya.